Hello, my name is Lamont Holden, also known as the Letter L Beats. I'm a professor of music production here at the University of Illinois, also co-founder of the ISYM Hip Hop camp.
And I'm Adam Cruz, Associate Professor of Music Education here at the University of Illinois, and also co-founder and co-director of the Illinois Summer Youth Music Hip Hop Camp.
Yeah, this year was different because, we hoped it would have been our fifth year, but, just because of the pandemic and everything, like a lot of other things, we had to put it on hold. Not all the camps were able to come back in 2021. We were able to make it happen. We had to limit participation to local students who are from the Champaign-Urbana area. And I think we did, a pretty good job. Usually when you have other camps around, students take breaks for electives, and so it was just us with the students all day for 8 hours.
Yeah, that intensity, though, I think really allowed us to really get a lot of work done. We were really efficient with the time that we had. And the campers made some really amazing projects.
Yeah, I think the thing that's been unique about, as we do this year after year. So, again, it's the fourth camp, but I look at it as the fifth year, even as we were able to tell, folks about it. The students are arriving more and more prepared. They're arriving at higher and higher levels. So I think just even from day one, we had students who weren't afraid to grab the mic, who were showing us they had really, advanced levels of talent and have been working at home.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a couple of reasons maybe why that sort of the level keeps growing year after year. And one is just that, kids are amazing and kids come in with so much just cultural wealth already, right? They've been listening to this music. They're steeped in the culture. They have an idea of who they are already as an artist. At such a young age, they come in already with this idea of kind of what their sound is and what they want to do. And we have some instructors at the camp, local artists, and folks who even travel in to come in as sort of exemplar artists who are really, really good at helping the young people sort of hone that craft and hone their craft and make their sound, even better. So I think that there's one is just that kids come in prepared, but I also think that something that has happened as a result of this camp and as sort of related to a lot of other work that you and I have both been doing here at this university for a number of years now, is that we've been able to build an ecosystem where not only are the kids coming in prepared because the kids are amazing, but we also have a huge now network and growing of music educators out there.
You are enough. That's right, you are enough. Say what I say, you are enough. Yes, and yes.
From kindergarten through high school, of folks who have taken courses here at the University of Illinois. They've taken beat making with Professor Holden, right? Yeah. And they've come and they've volunteered at this camp. They've been involved in after school activities, or they've had some class that I might be teaching of pre-service music educators. They've had those students come out and work with their students in a class. And so we've really built this network and this ecosystem where I think K-12 teachers are getting better and better and better at also giving students opportunities to collaborate with one another in class, to make beats, to write lyrics, to record themselves, to listen critically to music. So I think that a lot of the learning that kids are coming in with happens, sort of naturally and at home and on their own, but it's also happening in classrooms. And that's something that I'm really proud of in terms of this network that we've been building, and I'm excited to see how that continues to grow.
Yeah, I think that speaks to how well the MME program is serving the ecosystem in ISYM camp. Because, I go to a ton of classrooms all year, virtually, in person, everything, and it's so many teachers from around the state of Illinois, in Wisconsin, Indiana, where they've had access to the MME program, and, they've known you and they've known me, and they've said, hey, come to my classroom, teach us this stuff. So that's been a really cool thing with this.
Yeah. Our Masters of Music Education program is really strong here at the University of Illinois, and there's a way to engage with that program that is summers only. So practicing teachers don't have to quit their job to do it. They just come for a few summers. And we've been able to, a lot of times the schedule lines up where students in that Masters of Music Education program might be taking a course in audio engineering, or they're taking a course in creative digital musicianship, or they're taking a course in songwriting, and the content of that course is really overlapping with what's happening in the hip hop camp. And so we've been able to make the master's classes sometimes overlap with the hip hop camp in ways that are really great, because not only do the students in those Masters of Music Education courses have a sort of an opportunity to apply what they're learning and learn alongside kids and see how brilliant kids are and how brilliant the local artists are who we come in. So they get to build that, but it's also great for us in terms of just instruction and attention to the kids' projects, right? Because we're just two people, and a lot of times this year, we had a few fewer campers because it was local only, but we have a lot of campers who outnumber us and they need attention on their project. They need that kind of feedback. So when we're able to bring in music educators who are, what they do is they make music with kids, right? Even if they're not hip hop musicians themselves, they still know a lot about music and a lot about kids and teaching and learning. And so they're able to come into that space and they're really helpful in terms of, again, just helping the kids do their thing.
Yeah. And so the other thing I think is unique about this year is, Hip Hop Camp it's a very powerful experience. If you're somebody that enjoys working with kids, you're going to come out and you're going to feel different, right? And so there's always that feeling of like, now what? Right. And so I think what's different this year is that we have that comprehensive effort ready to go.
Yeah.
So we have some things planned throughout the year to touch base with, our teachers, our prospective students. We're going to be doing some programs, concerts, workshops, etc. So just being in contact and letting people know that this is a resource for the community, that this is something that we want to, be able to reach out throughout the year. And then when that time comes back around, hey, come and join us again,
Yeah.
And then also, too, is just, we've never had to turn a student away, for money. There's always support. There's always scholarship dollars there,
Yeah, that's the thing that, of all the things I'm proud of about this camp, I've learned so much. I know you've learned so much. I'm really proud of that network and ecosystem that we're building of educators and artists and youth. I'm proud of all of that. I'm proud of the albums that we put out each year and the live performances that we do. We do that in a week.
Yeah.
Right? We put out an original mixtape of an entirely original music and do a live show. Like, that's a lot of work that happens in 1 week. And I'm proud of all that. But the thing that I'm most proud of about this camp is that we've never had to turn somebody away because the camp was too expensive. We always make it work. It's not cheap. Bringing artists in, we're not asking artists to come in for free either.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I believe in paying artists for their art and for their expertise. And so, the facilities cost money around here. Do a show at the Canopy Club isn't free, right? Like, all of this costs money. But that's no reason that all of the resources then of this institution should be off limits to kids who maybe can't afford it. So we hustle all year to find people to help donate, to sponsor a kid, and every little bit helps. Right? It adds up. So that the kids can have that opportunity. The University of Illinois is a land grant school, right? And so part of our mission is to be of service and in communion with our local community. And so we should be working together, right? This is the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, right? And that is really important to me. When we first came up with this idea, we as the ISYM administration were talking with us about, how could we do a hip hop camp? What might that look like? The number one thing for us was it has to be accessible. It can't just be for rich kids who can already afford to come to these expensive camps. It has to be accessible to the kids for whom hip-hop is really important. And that is lots of kids. Hip-hop is important to lots of kids. But when I think about our local community, I'm especially thinking about our Black students, our Latinx students, our students for whom this is really, really important and a part of their history and a part of their culture. We have to be able to engage with that. If we're just having a hip-hop camp for kids who are excited about hip-hop, that's not quite enough. It's got to be for everybody. And that idea of being able to come up with the resources to be able to help fund kids coming to this camp, that's really important.
And that's what I love about it, because I think that speaks to the fact that, ISYM connects the dots for our full mission, right? Like, when I think of, we had a chance to bring Unir Gaines from Brooklyn out, right?
Yeah, amazing.
And he's one of the hot 50 artists to look out for independently from TuneCore this year, right? And so we had a chance to kind of establish a relationship with TuneCore and kind of show students not only is this a cool thing and it honors your culture, but now you can go make a career out of it, right? And so we hope to have Unir back with us and, continuing to show students how to monetize their art as well. And when I think of Jarrell Young, who, Jarrell's been with us for 4 years now, he wrote the Illini anthem that the entire school is now celebrating with the athletic program and things like that. So, we have to be the exemplar, right? Hey, you can come here, you can learn how to do this, and you can make a career. And so things like that allow us to continue to explore that space and show students this is the way.
I always think of hip hop camp it's my favorite week of the year, right?
Yeah,
like it's the I can guarantee every morning that week I'm going to be excited to come in, and I can't wait to see the kids. I can't wait to see the progress we're going to make. The other 51 weeks of the year, though, are also, we're still doing important work, right? And I always think of Hip Hop Camp is the, if you'll allow this, right? It's so grand. But I always think of it, it's the physical and the temporal manifestation of a community. It's the week where this community comes together. But the other 51 weeks out of the year, this community is still alive and happening, right? So some things that just to point out as examples, right? We have kids from this camp who are putting out albums outside of camp, but they're collaborating with other campers from camp, right? T Steel puts out an album, and Lay Don's got production on there, right? Keywave's got production, or he did some of the mixing on that album, right? Like I love to see those kids then collaborating outside of the camp, right? This is just the time where we come together for a week, and it's magical. But the community that we build within that week is huge, and it's bigger than that week, and it's bigger than this institution, right? And it's bigger than either of us for sure. Because also what happens in that week, so kids make music, and that's awesome, like that's the focus. But also what happens in that week is an elementary general music teacher meets a local MC. Right? And so she's there, she's excited about, maybe she brought a kid and she's excited to see that work happen. But also, she meets this MC and says, oh, hey, what you do is great. I love the way you work with the kids. I love the way you think about your art. This MC, has a set of musical and artistic and cultural experiences that are very different from the music teacher, but she recognizes the wealth in him and says, hey, come out to my school, work with my kids, let's do a concert. And then that winter, that MC is featured at the winter concert with a bunch of elementary school kids, right? Like this community that gets built around that 1 week experience it's to me that's really inspiring because I see it transforming experiences for teachers and for kids. I see it transforming educational school spaces, and it just keeps reinvigorating me to rethink. Okay, well, how can I reinvest in this community? What do we need next? Right? How do we support that? But the camp is just the week where we come together. The work is so much bigger.
I'm thinking of, and this is probably one of my last thoughts, but I'm just thinking of, we recently did an interview last week with WCIA, and unfortunately there's been an uptick in violence in the Champaign-Urbana community.
Right.
And they recognized us as leaders and said, hey, what do you think? And, one of the things I said was, please support our programs. Dr. Patterson's got the STEM lab over there at Lincoln Square Mall. We've got our spaces here. We work over at the library. We work at the Boys and Girls Club. Support our programming so that we can give these kids something constructive to do other than being out there and getting into the wrong thing,
I mean, obviously, all communities have struggles, and this is, I think the foremost struggle of our community right now. And if music can play a part of helping to make that better, if kids can see school as a place that they want to go, where their culture is represented, where who they are matters, right? Then I want to see this whole next generation come through, knowing that they have options, knowing that this university that is right next door is a space where they can be and be themselves, not just come to have to give up who they are to come to the university, but that the university values who you are. The university values your culture. It wants you here, and it wants you here for who you are, right? Like we've got to be able to open those doors and make those connections. It's heartbreaking that in a community that has the resources of this university, we still have all these struggles, and I know the university can't solve all of them, but I've got to think that building better relationships between an institution like this and its surrounding community has to help.
So lastly, this is what I'll say. So if I'm somebody who's seeing this and I decide that I want to give money to ISYM, what will that money be used for specifically?
So that money, donations that we've received go directly to paying scholarships for kids to come to the camp. All the other money in terms of, supporting, instructors and, reserving spaces and buying recording equipment when we need it, all of that money comes from elsewhere. I find that from grants or we get, money through the institution when it's available and things like that. We make that work. But donations go directly to supporting scholarships for kids to be able to attend the camp, every penny of it.
Awesome.